Ah, you're a beauty vlogger now. As soon as I try and start filming. Hey guys, it's Kai and welcome back to my channel. Alright guys, today is my first ever episode of Crime Time. Today I'm going to be talking about a really interesting case. A friend actually told me about this one. She recently came back from a trip to Europe in which she spent quite a bit of time in Barcelona. And while she was there, she found out about a case, the case of Enriqueta Martí, the vampire of Barcelona. So, really interesting case. I will put a couple of trigger warnings on the screen just here for you. There are a couple of very intense things mentioned in this case. So if you are uncomfortable with any of these things, please click away. Alright, if you hear any strange ambient noises, my cat is absolutely going schizo.
I look out and I see her. She does like a
loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has ruined the start of this video like 4 times already, it's fine. Anyway, so a little bit of a background about this vampire of Barcelona, Enriqueta Martí. I would also like to apologise for my pronunciation of everything in this video. There are a lot of names and words and that I'm not familiar with. I'm going to do my best. I'll probably be bastardizing a lot of them. I'm sorry. If you do know the correct pronunciations, please let me know. I tried to do a bit of Googling, I got more confused. So, there we go. So, Enriqueta was born in 1868 in Sant Feliu de Llobregat in Spain. Apologies for the terrible accent as well. I'm trying. So she was obviously mostly known by the moniker the Vampire of Barcelona, but she was also known as the Vampire of Caraponet and the Vampire of the Raval. As a young woman, Enriqueta worked as a maidservant and then a nanny before turning to prostitution in a high-class brothel. By age 27, she'd married Juan Pualo. However, the marriage was kind of an on-again, off-again sort of situation. They actually split up and reconciled 6 times. So you can already see her life was a little all over the place. And that was only by age 27. So now on to the juicy stuff, the meaty bit. In 1909, aged 41, Enriqueta opened her own brothel, which serviced some of the most affluent individuals in Barcelona. In particular, she served a lot of affluent clients with specific preferences, namely a desire for children. In order to supply these children, she would go into the poor parts of the city dressed as a pauper and basically kidnap unaccompanied children and force them into service at her brothel. So in addition to acting as a pimp for kidnapped children, Enriqueta also practiced as a witch doctor, claiming that the blood of a child would cure tuberculosis. And creams and elixirs made from the remains of children had anti-aging properties. In order to procure the required ingredients for this, of course, she would find and murder children between 5 and 15 years old, and she would use their fat and their blood and their bones, and she would make salves and ointments and poultices and potions and sell them to the wealthy for lots of money. So obviously both of her business practices weren't exactly typical. During what is known as the Tragic Week of 1909, I'm not going to get into that just because it would make the video very long, but if you're interested, do Google Tragic Week in Barcelona. Enriqueta was arrested and accused of running a brothel which offered sexual services of children. However, due to the high profile of her clients, she was never tried. There were no actual charges pressed. So she would continue to kidnap children for the next 3 years until February 10th, 1912, when she kidnapped her final victim, Teresita Guitart Congost. Authorities were ridiculously passive in searching for all of the missing children that she'd been kidnapping, including Teresita. So it actually wasn't the authorities, but it was a suspicious and worried neighbour who worked out what had happened. This neighbour, Claudia Elias, on the 17th of February, so 7 days later, noticed that there was a girl with cropped hair looking out of a hinged window from Enriqueta's flat. So she went up and actually asked Enriqueta, you know, is that your daughter? To which Enriqueta responded by staying dead silent and closing the window in her face. Great way to assuage guilt. Anyway, Elias then went down the street and told a mattress maker, who then told his acquaintance, who was a municipal agent, and then he told the chief of the Ribot Brigade. So this obviously led to the police needing to search her premises and see what was going on. I believe they actually went under the guise of having complaints of chickens on the property and searched the house. She let them. She was like, it's cool. When they searched the property, not only did they find Teresita alive, but also a second girl, Angelita. The girls both had horrific stories from their time with Enriqueta, including finding a sack full of a girl's bloodied clothing and a bloody knife, as well as Angelita actually told officers that before Teresita got there, there was a young boy, a 5-year-old boy named Pepito, and Angelita watched as Enriqueta killed him on the kitchen table. So both of these girls went through hell and back. Now, obviously we knew who Teresita was. She was known to be missing. That was fine. But Angelita, she didn't actually know her last name. She didn't know who she was. She didn't really know where she'd come from. And what actually happened was that Enriqueta claimed initially that she was their child from her marriage with Juan. However, Juan denied this, saying they'd been separated for years and he knew of no child. Eventually, Enriqueta changed her story to say it was actually her sister-in-law's daughter who Enriqueta had initially told them was stillborn. So she lied to her and stole her baby. This was never confirmed or denied. So further investigation of Enriqueta's flat, where the girls were found, revealed the aforementioned sack of bloody clothing and the knife. It also revealed a sack of children's clothes and at least 30 small human bones, which were charred by fire, as well as a locked room that contained her witch doctoring. It was pitchers and wash bowls filled with preserved human remains, as well as pots of potions and ointments ready for sale. Pretty disgusting if you think about it. I can't imagine it would have smelled very good. So, investigation of her previous dwellings revealed false walls and human remains like stuck in walls and ceilings all throughout the houses. In the garden, they found the skull of a 3-year-old, as well as the bones of a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, and an 8-year-old. So one of the most interesting finds at her current flat was an ancient book covered in parchment in which Enriqueta had neatly detailed all of her recipes and her potions, as well as a list of names and families from high society. Now, initially, people believed that this was a list of her clients, and people wanted justice. They wanted this list released. However, it was actually revealed to be the names of wealthy people that she had begged from and then swindled out of their money. So obviously, she was charged with a few things. However, whilst awaiting trial in the Reina Amalia jail, Enriqueta attempted to take her own life, much to public indignation, and obviously guards took measures from this to then give her absolutely no ability to do so. However, within 15 months of her arrest, she was lynched by her fellow inmates, having never stood trial. So she actually was never convicted of her crimes, and it's posited that it was actually her wealthy clients that paid off the inmates to kill her. Obviously, this is not confirmed. Of course, there is some doubt about this incredulous story. Some researchers recently have posited that Enriqueta Martí, the vampire of Barcelona, was nothing but a woman with severe mental illness, as she was only realistically proven to have kidnapped one young girl, being Teresita. So we may never know if this tall tale is indeed one of serial murder and child prostitution and anti-tuberculosis blood cocktails, or that of a mentally unstable woman who kidnapped one child and thankfully didn't get away with it. And that is a relatively quick rundown on the Vampire of Barcelona. Pretty insane case. I'd love to do further research into it, but I didn't want to make an obscenely long video. But yeah, before I close off, I will address the, well, not necessarily elephant in the room, because not a whole lot's changed. I tried to change my hair. So what I did was I stripped it. I used this colour stripper, and yeah, look, it worked. It stripped the colour out of my hair pretty well. I then put a little bit of bleach in on some of the dark spots, and then I put in this bad boy here, which was supposed to turn my hair grey-blue. As you can see, it didn't. It didn't at all. My hair is now kind of a gingery blonde. Somehow the grey added more red back in, which is insane. I also did chop off the ends a little bit just to get rid of all the gnarly bits because I treat my hair badly and they were looking pretty nasty. So don't judge the at-home chop job. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Today's case is the Vampire of Barcelona. About this particular case, it's really couscous. Yeah, so today's case is the Vampire of Barcelona. I'm just gonna start again.